morning, good afternoon, good evening. Man is supposed to be a creature of reason. And it is disconcerting when he starts behaving like an animal. It is frightening when a whole nation starts behaving like an animal, blindly following somebody. I think the people of Zimbabwe, we have got to be honest with ourselves. We are in this political mess because we have been blind. Here, this video clip emphasizes that very point very, very well.
I came across a raw and surreal video from rural India. A large bonfire lit for a traditional event, and then a man who herds goats begins to walk his flock around the fire. Once, twice, thrice. And then he steps away. But the goats keep going. Round and round they go. No leader, no destination. Just movement for the sake of movement. Blindly following the one ahead. And suddenly, it's not just a circle. It's a cycle. A vicious, self-perpetuating loop. It reminded me of what we often see around us. In religion, in politics, in society. So many follow without question, without clarity, without understanding the true intent of the one they're following. Not because they believe, but because they're conditioned. Because stepping out of the circle takes courage. The fire in the middle may be real or imagined, but the fear, the motion, the blind, it's all too real. Ask yourself, are you thinking or are you following? Are you chasing purpose or are you circling the flame?
Well, when you have had elections for the last 45 years, and they have been rigged elections, and they are conned to believe that this time we'll win rigged elections because I've plugged all the vote rigging loopholes, and you believe it blindly. That is blind obedience. Chamisa has conned the people of Zimbabwe again and again to participate in flawed elections, knowing fully well that the process is flawed. God knows I have, on a number of occasions, quoted David Coulthard, one of the MDC-CCC leaders, admitting that very point, admitting the sheer futility of keeping on participating in these flawed elections. But most significantly, he also admitted why he and his fellow MDC friends have been participating in these flawed elections. Greed. MDC-CCC leaders have become the men leading the goats in this video clip. He knows the sheer futility of it all. And he's smart enough to step away after going round the flame 3 times. But the gods continue circling the flame. Make no mistake about it, MDC leaders have been participating in these flawed elections, knowing fully well that the process is flawed, knowing fully well that the most logical thing to do is not to participate. knowing fully well that if we participate, we give Zanu PF legitimacy. And yet, they've continued to participate. Indeed, Chamisa has even been lying to con people to participate, to get his followers to circle the flame like goats, telling them, I have plugged all the vote-rigging loopholes. Triple C is going to win big, but knowing fully well all the time that he was lying. Here he is urging his followers, assuring them that Triple C was going to win the 2023 election.
Makorokoto Zimbabwe nokuti hakuna munhu anomira kana denga raronga plan. Denga raronga plan, denga harifoiri. Plan yaMwari haifoiri. Ini ndatanga kugadzira cabinet. There is no way we are not going to form a new cabinet. There is no way we are not going to have a celebration. There is no way we are not going to have an inauguration. Let's start preparing for our inauguration. Let's start preparing for our celebration.
Guess who was the chief beneficiary of Chamisa lying that he had plugged all the vote-rigging loopholes in 2023? It's Zanu PF. In 2018, Chamisa made the same idiotic lie. He told the voters that MDC alliance had stringent measures to stop Zanu PF rigging the elections. Of course, he was lying. Zanu PF went on to blatantly rig those elections. And because people had participated, got legitimacy. So once again, Zanu PF was the real beneficiary of the rigged elections. And Chamisa and his friends collected their share of the spoils. Since the 2023 elections, Chamisa went on sabbatical, French leave if you want. But he has since announced that he's coming back. He's forming a new movement. And the primary purpose of that new movement is to con Zimbabweans to participate in 2028 elections. There are millions, to give the process legitimacy, to give Zanu PF legitimacy, and perpetuate their own suffering. I think the way Zimbabweans have been conned into these meaningless, absolutely meaningless elections, time and time again, ignoring the warning that you need to implement democratic reforms to ensure the elections are free, fair, and credible, is mind-boggling. How could we be so naive, ignorant, and gullible to keep believing that after 45 years of rigged elections, the opposition can win rigged elections? What is wrong with implementing the democratic reforms so that we have free, fair, and credible elections? What is wrong with that? Why have we not insisted that, well, this is enough is enough? After 45 years of rigged elections, let's sit down and get these reforms implemented so that we have free, fair, and credible elections. Other nations have held free, fair, and credible elections. Botswana, South Africa. Why is it that we are finding it a quantum leap to make that jump? To say, no, let's sit down, let's have reforms implemented so that we don't have to plug these vote rigging loopholes. We don't have to be conned, to be told one lie after another that the opposition would win rigged elections. And that is exactly what has happened to Zimbabwe. Blind obedience will see millions of Zimbabweans conned by Chamisa to participate in 2028 elections. Tragic. I say it again, man is supposed to be a creature of reason. But our blind obedience to Chamisa on the basis of idiotic lies takes the biscuit.